Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, and we have a very special guest with us today, a town board member of our hometown Bethlehem, David DeCancio, and
It's a pleasure to
yeah,
be
I
here.
can almost call you Hebrew name David over here. So I call the town supervisor. His name's David too. I call him his Hebrew name. But in any case, that we want to talk a little bit about the town. It's obviously interesting for people, and I always say people should get more involved. You know, people don't vote. Half the people don't vote, and even for president. And so it's important. I just feel that people should know. You know, always feel privileged that we're in a free country. You know, my grandparents came from Europe, and they weren't allowed to vote. And here, you know, you're a full citizen, so use that opportunity to
Yes,
make
absolutely.
the government better and the people better. Well, one of the things is a little bit disturbing Bethlehem, even though it's a beautiful town and everything is nice, but then you had these people that came and they were protesting, and they brought in a speaker that was totally anti-Israel, that Israel does terrible things, and there were, well, it was really in the library, but you know, for example, the town of Bethlehem allows us very nicely, I don't know how many years, it's been 30 years, where I put up a menorah right at the four corners. For people who don't know, Bethlehem, it's the downtown, it's the Times Square
the hub.
of Bethlehem. And, you know, you come, and the town supervisor, a few other assembly people come. You know, so it's very, very nice. We have a few hundred people come, and you know, again, it's just to being proud of being the Hanukkah menorah and proud of it. But then you have people that always have to put a stick in the eye, so to
Yeah.
speak, as you say. So, I mean, you knew about it also.
Yes,
So
it's a great
you're-
tradition. It's a great tradition. I
Yeah.
think it just shows that we are one Bethlehem. I come back to this. And it's one of the reasons why I ran for town hall, for town office was, there's so much more that unites us and divides us. We love living in this community, and unfortunately, some people like to spread division. Like you said earlier about great country. We can vote. My parents are Cuban exiles.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yes,
know
my
that.
parents came here. They fled in 1962
Oh, really?
from Cuba. So that my parents left behind everything. They left their life, their culture, their family. The two of them came to Miami, did not know the language, and they started from scratch. All they came with was 2 articles of clothing in a suitcase. My mom had to fight for her wedding ring. They barely let her do that, and and they worked hard. And being raised my parents always instilled in me you need to give back to this community because this country gave us hope and opportunity. There was none of that where we were. We lost everything, but we didn't want to live in a place where we didn't have freedom. We couldn't speak our mind. And that's why, I'm so passionate about giving back to the community. It's a way to repay this country for what they did for my family. So,
It's interesting you have that because, I mean, they're not similar backgrounds that came from Europe, but again, people appreciate what they have. I also see that that's one of the bigger problems in America. I mean, they're supposed to be learning history, but they just think it just says in Yiddish, comes to me, or comes to me. I deserve this, and give me this, and give me that. Like, Henry, what are you giving back to the country?
correct.
And they don't appreciate where even most of the world, Russia and China, I mean, these are billions, Africa, billions of people. I don't think any country really has as good as the United States. And all they want is, well, you didn't give me this enough, and you didn't give me that enough. Once you appreciate what you have, I
Yep.
think it's a big problem for a lot of people.
Yep.
Just look in the mirror, you have your health, you have a nice country, and be happy, and they're so mad. And
Yes, and just like my father always told us, no one owes us anything. You got to work hard. You work hard, mind your business, and you can succeed here. You can grow. You can prosper. Smallest people can make a difference in the community. Real quick before we get to what we talk about, my mom didn't speak English very well, but when she was started off as a volunteer in my elementary school, when I started going to kindergarten, and she saw how the teachers' aides were being mistreated, and they weren't treated with respect and this and that. So she helped organize and form a teachers' aid union.
really,
She founded
That's
it, and then she became president. And there was controversy with that. A lot of times some people got ugly. When I grew up, speaking Spanish was not really looked upon very well. They people, you know, he used to get teased a lot. In fact, one school board person or school, you know, administrator made a comment one day in public saying, "How can we even negotiate when we can't even understand this woman?"
Really?
You know, that's what I was brought up in, and you know, there's a little animosity. But at the end, when my mom passed away, regrettably, in 1996, the school district actually reached out to my family and said, "We want to honor your mother." I mean, there's a plaque in our elementary school, you know, and all she was a teacher's aide, and you know, but she changed lives. And I always told my girls doing that, you can be anything you want. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous. But if you do right and do good things for the community, people are going to remember you. You know?
That's excellent.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's a good attitude. But I just think, you know, unfortunately, I think just the immigrants or people from immigrants
Correct.
have that attitude, and
Yep.
other people just think that
Yep.
the world owes them, the country owes
Correct.
them so much.
So that's why I was very disturbed when I saw when that organization decided to bring a speaker in to supposedly, quote unquote, educate the community on the two sides. You know, I think you're being kind when you say he's anti-Israel. I believe he's anti-Jewish. The man actually has said, you can Google him, he said the attacks on October 7th that led to the slaughter of 1,400 people, actually family members of residents of our town, that were justified attacks. Like, how do you justify the raping, murdering of innocent people, young children at a music festival? You know, and it's sad that this person came here to spread division. And you know what? That's not good for the community. You know, a divided community is never good. You know, because like I said before, it leads to hate. It leads to just, you know, animosity, and that's not good for the community. That's why I love that menorah lighting. That brings the community together. It's right next to the Christmas tree. It shows that we're all coming together. We celebrate together. You know, we all have each our own customs. You know, as a Catholic, you know, and we just come together and we just celebrate everyone's traditions, everyone's, you know, culture.
You know, it's interesting. Of course, we're the studio here. People may not know it is in the library, Bethlehem Library, and I also put up a menorah. There also, and again, it goes back so many years ago. On the other hand, they said, "Well, what would you do when I went to the city town board meeting? What would you do if you care about? There's a Christmas tree right there." I says, "Well, of course, let them be there." You know, I mean, and that just. I don't know what they were thinking. I was telling get rid of the tree and only have a menorah. I don't know what they were even thinking that I would even begin to think. But I didn't, and they said, all right, you could have it. And that's the beauty of just our town. It's the beauty of the United States. There's so many, who knows, from probably every country in the world, 100, 200 countries, and just working together because only we're human beings. We want to be free. And like you say, if you work hard, then you'll get somewhere. And not that the country owes you anything. They just let you, here's your freedom, do something with it, make the community better. I think that's just a major idea.
It is, and you know, I feel like sometimes we're going backwards. Sometimes it seems like we're going backwards. Like, you know, with all this division that's been spread about, you know, ceasefire, no ceasefire, and all this talk, and you know,
in Israel, you're saying
yes, for Israel, yes, and then you know, with that speaker, you know, just a few days after, there was a shooting. You know, and it's kind of disturbing. You start wondering, and then you start seeing a poll that came out recently, back earlier at the end of last year or beginning of this year, and it showed 1 in 5 young Americans believe the Holocaust is a myth.
Really?
And that's disturbing to me. You know, as somebody, you know, I grew up, and we had a lot of friends and neighbors who were Jewish, and actually I was able to talk and meet a lot of Holocaust survivors. You know, they showed me their tattoos, they told me the stories, and I saw that, and I think that's imperative that you see that, because for 20% of our country to feel that that was a myth is scary. Because will history repeat itself? That's the last thing we need. You know, because, you know, anti-Semitism, it provides fuel for hate. Hate that can lead to, you hate then for someone who you know, your race, your ethnicity, who you decide to love. It just is the fuel for that. It starts rolling, and it spreads very quickly, you know, and that's not right.
No, I love history. Well, my parents says you can't make a living in it, but I guess I became a rabbi and I'm not rich either. But in any case, I loved history. And some people say, oh, what's with history, or my friends, what kind of, go into business. So I always say, you can't understand today if you don't from the past. And I think, again, that's what I was saying about the youth. You know, they, well, here we're in America, and there's so much money, and there's so much free, you could do whatever you want. Well, why don't you look back, you know, the Revolutionary War, which is really upstate New York, there, the Battle of Saratoga and the like, a lot of it was centered around this area. I just say you should bring children up there, you know, to say, well, you had to fight for your freedom.
Correct.
And all the wars, World War I, World War II, these fascist regimes that America always was fighting against. People had to fight and die for these freedoms, and you don't appreciate anything unless, you know, unfortunately you don't want to lose it, and then you really would appreciate it. But on the other hand, just living here and thinking that it just comes easy, it doesn't come easy. Like you're saying, getting involved, and or just simply voting, like I just was saying. You know, how many people just go out and vote?
Correct.
What are they asking you to do? Push a lever, go outside for a mile and push a lever? I mean, no one's asking you hard work.
And elections have consequences. You know, and people don't realize that. You know, elections are decided by 1 vote, 5 votes. And that's the direction that your town, your municipality, your country are going in. And it's so important. It's one of the most powerful things that people, like you said before, have died to give us that right. And there are people in other countries who would do anything to have that ability to vote for who leads them.
So let me ask you personally, I mean, you are on the town board. Why did you get into that? I mean, let's just maybe even say, describe civics. What does the town board do? Well, what's the issues that come, you know, on your table? Like, what do you have to deal with?
All right, so, you know, I ran because, like I said, I wanted to give back. I've always wanted to give back. I've been very active in our community. I was a coach for 14 years. My daughter's youth sports. I was very active in the Bethlehem Opportunities Unlimited, a not-for-profit board. I always volunteered, whether it be for a local fire department. I helped them with their building project. And I've always given back. I think that's the best way to get involved in the community, because it's also a way that breaks down barriers. Because my volunteer work that I had over the years, 20 years, I met people that I never would have met. People that are philosophically think differently, ideologically, but we become friends because of what we like to do and the passion to make our community a better place for our children, make our town a better place. So I thought my next level was go to the town board and make a difference there directly now. You know, we handle things, you know, it's not sexy. You know, people always want to talk about the president and Congress, but, you know, your town government are the ones that actually deliver the services that we all rely on every day. Make sure we have clean water. Make sure, you know, our roads are cleared and safe. You know, provide the recreational opportunities for our you know, our families to live in, you know, and do whatever it is they want to do. Biking, go to the park, play tennis. You know, plow our streets, pick up the leaves. Everyone loves the leaves being picked up in our town. You know, it's providing real essential services, but also helping people like our food pantry. It provided 14,000 meals last year.
Really?
Yes, I mean, people talk about Bethlehem's always rich and there's only rich people. No, there's a lot of need in our community, you know. So we provide those simple, essential services, and I like to be on the front lines of that. In fact, you know, I've jumped in head first. I've done 2 ride-alongs with the police officers since I've been on the board. I saw a great example of one of our police officers did an amazing thing. There was a call to a location in town, and there was someone outside that was kind of, you know, making people feel uncomfortable. That police officer spent time. It was a homeless person. Out of her own pocket, she paid for a sandwich, a cup of coffee, and a water. And she spent time talking to him, and, you know, and got him on his way. And it's very nice. But out of her own pocket, she did this. You know, I saw that. I've operated a plow during last winter storm. I didn't operate it. I did a ride along, so I got the call at 2:30 in the morning. But, you know, I saw that. I saw how they did. I did a 4-hour shift. Tremendous respect for our highway department. Those guys work around the clock in those storms, and what they do is unfathomable. Having these big trucks and operating them, and just in the dead of night, we can't see. They're out there while we're being told, "Don't go to work. Don't go. Everyone stay home." They're out there on those roads. I've taken a tour of our water department, sewage treatment facility. I think to me that's important to do, because that way I can actually see and hear from the people that are actually running the facilities and doing the work. So I can better understand like when they come to us saying we need more money for this, or we want new this or this, I can actually see it and say, I remember that. So, just delving into those things. Last year alone, we provided in the last 4 years, we have provided over $700,000 in micro enterprise grants to local businesses, small businesses.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep, and that's helping them retain their workers, hire, provide, help them build purchase a new machine or a new some kind of, whatever it is they need in their facility or their place of business to help them thrive. So those are the kind of things we do. We built over 11,000 square feet of new sidewalks. To me, walkability is important. We all want to be able to walk, especially with our kids. Whether you go to a park, whether you just want to take a stroll, but building new sidewalks, repairing the broken ones, because safety first, and it adds to the quality of life.
It's interesting. Yeah, always the little things you don't think about. Normally, just plowing and
correct.
Something has to be done about that.
Like people always talk about, like, in Washington they said that we're all gonna have clean water, and we all want clean water, right? And a few years back, about a year and a half ago, we had to address a toxin that was in our water. It cost about $6 million to address that.
Really?
We're told what to do, but we're the town is the ones that actually does it and make sure that our water is safe. So it's one of the most important positions, in my opinion, the local government, because it's the closest to the people.
If you have brass tacks, talk about highfalutin things.
Correct.
Like that, going to the moon and all
yes,
that.
No, and not getting into foreign policies and other countries, what they're doing. Our job is very simple. Do what's right for our community. Help make our community a better place to live, work, raise a family. I mean, we all live here because we love this community. And that's why people want to move here, because we have a great community. So.
I know, just really the top, well, again, we're safe from the library, which we have to be thankful that they're letting us use the studio, and the schools
Correct.
are really #1 in the whole capital district.
They are.
There's some really nice other communities that it's not
correct.
Just slums that we're talking
Yep.
about. So we're talking about very good things.
And it's interesting that you talk about schools, because when you talk about taxes, everyone says about we have taxes. No one likes to pay taxes. But the fact is, the town, out of every dollar we pay in property taxes, only 12 cents goes to the town. The largest chunk of our property tax bill is actually the school district tax. It's about 67 cents of the dollar. So the town, all those essential services, the roads, the picking up leaves, the plowing, the police, 12 cents of every dollar only. So we really, we don't have a lot of money to work with. In fact, our town has fewer employees today than it did in 2009.
Well, because of the budget?
We just have, become leaner. It works more efficient, but I think it's also dollars and cents. The town continues to grow, right? We have new roads, more sidewalks to maintain, and yet our workforce has been slowly but surely declining a little bit. It's kudos to the men and women that do the work in our town, from the highway department to town hall to our EMS. They are the lifeblood of our community and what makes everything go round.
It's interesting. Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't know the nuts and bolts of everything. That's why I say people don't get involved, and you think, like you say, well, that's the way it is, and there's a lot of work behind it.
They work extremely hard, especially our highway department and our water department. Those guys, a water main breaks. They can break at 2 a.m. Could break at 6 p.m. They're on call. Our police, the dispatchers are on 24/7. They're always there. Holidays. Those people spend time away from their families to protect us and keep us safe. So, and that's why we owe them a great debt of gratitude, because they answer the call when that call's made.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of it's, I know a few people on the volunteer fire department, and so that's, again, people who volunteer.
Yep.
Some say that saves so much money anyway
Yes, it
for the
does.
town, and again, these people are dedicated to,
Yep.
in a way, put their lives on the line. I
Yep.
mean, sometimes
And don't
these
get
fires-
paid. The amount of people, when you go tell them they are volunteer firefighters, and they're like, well, they get paid. They don't get a dime. They are not paid. They volunteer their time, and that it requires hundreds of hours of training, dedication, but also just be able to, like I said, answer the call, whether it be at 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve, on Hanukkah, New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
doesn't matter, your birthday.
Yeah.
Your call comes in, you're picking up and leaving to help maybe one of our loved ones' lives. So, you know,
Yeah, no, again, it's important that, how many people are on the town board?
there's 5 of us. There's 4 town board members and 1 supervisor.
And it goes by the majority of votes? Like
Yes.
if something
Yep,
goes
it's 5,
3-2,
yep,
3-2, one
Correct.
way or the other.
correct. Yes.
And then you meet once a month? Or?
We meet twice a month, the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. Yeah, it's at 6 o'clock at Town Hall. They are recorded. You can actually watch it from your house if you want, or your computer or your phone. And also on that website, our website is pretty, it's pretty handy, because also you can sign up if you want to get notifications about if there's a meeting, whether it be a zoning board meeting or a planning board meeting or an IDA meeting. You can actually sign up to get alerts, and it'll tell you, oh, tomorrow there's a zoning board of appeals meeting, and here's the agenda. So I mean, there's so many boards on the town. The zoning board of appeals, which I served on for 7 years, they handle variances like land use stuff. The planning department, the planning board, they handle a lot of the if you want to build a house or you want to build a subdivision or do some kind of work on your property, you go through them. We have a bunch of youth advisory committees. So, for example, that Heath Farms that the town purchased a couple of years ago,
Right.
the 300 acres.
Yeah, at 9W.
Yes, 9W and down by Clapper Road.
Yeah.
That's actually, we believe, to be the largest municipal land purchase in the Hudson Valley ever made.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
either.
it was. And and now we have
What they're going to do
board.
with it, make it a park? Or?
Well, right now we have a commission that was advisory board that was created. It's 10 members. You're going to come up with ideas of what can be done with the property, and what kind of investments can we make. What are some ideas to do, different options, and they're going to submit a plan to the town board to see what we do.
300 acres, a lot of land.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's preserving open space, but also that's a historic farm. It's been around since the Revolutionary War.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yes, yes, and there's a few members. There's a few people around that still know, who went there as a child and remember that place. Like one gentleman gave me a couple of bottle caps from Heath Farms Dairy.
Yeah.
So it's neat. It's neat.
Yeah, well, again, I started off the show. People should know their history.
Yes.
People just plow everything under and make everything modern, which of course is important. I mean, you need new construction, of course. But on the other hand, can't forget about your history and
No.
just plow it under
Correct.
and forget about the past.
Correct.
You have to know.
Good, people like, we need more recreational facilities, and people like to go outside and be with their families. I think COVID has reinvigorated everybody to spend time outside, go, enjoy nature. We have so many different parks around town and nature preserves.
Yeah. No, it's nice. Yeah, I go with my wife and the grandchildren, and it's nice to I know a person that actually just lives, right in town, but within he says a half-mile. He goes biking and, and he says, well, I don't like the traffic. It's scary with all the cars going on.
Yep.
I just almost like in the middle of nowhere, and it's not like he has to go. If you're in New York City, you probably have to drive an hour and a half to get nowhere.
Yep.
And here he says, within a mile, I'm on the road which hardly anybody even drives on. So again, people come for that. You got the city, you got both of things, because you're just really a few minute drive.
Correct.
If you want to Albany, and then on the other hand, another mile in the other direction.
Correct.
You can have all.
I don't know, have you been to Henry Hudson Park down in the water? That's a lovely place, a little hidden gem, I say. People don't realize it. Right on the Hudson River there, you can go fish. There's a fishing pier. There's places where you can play volleyball if you want, just hang out by the water.
Yeah, well, my wife likes her nature, so she brings me there. She just, it's again a place where, again, not too far away, a few miles away, and you're kind of by yourself with nature. You
feel like you're in the middle of nowhere almost.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's little waterfalls around the corner. You can go walk to it. There's little waterfalls in that area down there.
Well, I didn't even
the
know that.
Bloemenskill, yep. There's some beautiful spots and hidden gems in this town that, there's a couple of parks. There's a park in Selkirk, South Bethlehem, North Bethlehem Park. So it's not just, most people think about, the park. It's the Elm Ave Park.
Yeah.
We have a lot of parks.
Little parks, yeah.
Yep.
Well, they'll see what they do with the Heath Farm also, maybe they'll
Yes.
make it into,
Yep.
I mean, they're not gonna build it up. that's
No,
for
no,
sure.
the whole purpose is to basically preserve it, and maybe one of the options is maybe make it some kind of farm, agriculture, agribusinesses. See if people want to come in and do something, some kind of cooperative things. So we want to see the gamut.
Yeah, just the farms are nice. I know the Kenwood, the Clinky Farm
Yep.
also is going to be, but they only subdivided in half.
Yes.
Half will be for building up,
Yes.
and half, you know,
Yep.
they're gonna keep
Yep.
it as a little bit of a farm.
Yep.
You know, it's nice to have a farm
Yep.
right
It's nice to
there.
have a balance of our town. We have some rural spots. We have some urban type places like the heart of Delmar is very you can walk to everything. So there's a lot of diversity in our town, which is amazing. All parts of town.
Well, the town has grown since I've been here in about 30 years now.
Mhm.
You know, and the population's gone up, and people do
has.
find it desirable to,
Mhm.
like I say, it's a nice and peaceful, and you have good schools, good library.
Yes.
You know, if you have a
Yes.
family, you want
Yep.
the kids to go to nice
Yep.
places.
And I encourage everybody. I'm always telling people, and especially young kids, I try to talk to them like, get active, get involved. Like just recently, we had the chamber, Bethlehem Chamber had an event, and it was a meet the coffee with legislators. And the best part was we businesses, a couple of elected officials like from town, county, state, and there were a bunch of students there. And they were actually one of the kids that were there, and we went to a table and they asked us questions and they engaged, and once again trying to get them engaged in our community. So I think that's a good thing. And then the idea of connecting kids with our community, whether it be through volunteer work or whether just learning more about how government works, is a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's what I said right at the beginning also, just that kids should know, and just again, they're always on their handheld.
Yes, they
I
are.
just actually saw on Facebook there was a beautiful museum, and someone took a picture. I mean, it was like a major picture on the
Okay.
wall, but they had like 10 young people, each one's looking at their phone. So I
know.
guess you got a problem like that. It used to be television. Kids would
Yes.
get outside. It's a beautiful area and learn something.
We have the world's come a long way. It's very different today, and it's something about being able to just put that down. I remember as a kid, you spent all day outside. You didn't come in till it was 6 o'clock, and then you'd go home for dinner. But now it's the devices. There's some good parts of it. Keeps us connected,
Yeah.
especially if you have family far away. Like for example, none of my family's here. My wife's family all lives here, but it stays connected that way. So.
Well, there's good and bad in
Yes,
everything. That's
correct.
the way kind of the Hasidic philosophy. God
Yep.
didn't make anything bad. He just you have free choice to do
Yes, you
whatever
do.
you want with it,
Mhm.
and so you can use it for good, that's what we're trying to push for, you and
Mhm.
me. And obviously, you can use it for get caught up in it
Yes.
and just like that. If you don't talk to anybody and just look at your phone all the
I
time,
know.
you don't interact face to face.
You miss out. You miss on the moment. The moment. There's so much beauty in life, and sometimes you gotta pick our heads up. So.
Look
But then
around.
again, if you think about it, back when you were younger, I remember people in the subway cars or the trains that had
Yeah.
newspapers in their face. So is that any different than
Yeah.
having a phone in your hand?
Yeah.
So I don't know. As life changes, it's just different.
Maybe, but they say
know.
kids are more on their phones than
They are.
They have to get outside and
They do have to, especially now they're on school. They're on the computers all the time.
yeah,
So, yeah.
they're just interacting with people. I say that with Judaism because it's anyway in any church service where maybe it's old fashioned just to come together, but
Correct.
it's really the right thing because then you
Correct.
meet people,
Yes.
face to face. All right, like you say, obviously it's
Yep.
nice to talk to someone for no money. Used to be so much
Yes.
long distance.
Yep.
And here it's like nothing.
Yep.
So obviously that's a good factor, but there's
Mhm.
so much, just going out and meeting people, doing
Getting
things
to know people.
with people.
Yep.
That's-
I always told my girls when we went to church, it's like, guys, it's an hour and a half. So an hour and a half out of a week. It's not a lot of time. It's really a short period of time. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, and get out there. Well,
Yeah.
again, we're talking about the spiritual component, which is
Mhm.
important
It
also.
is
Or
important.
like you say, the social component of
Mhm.
having friends and
Mhm.
meeting with people. And then on the negative side, they say loneliness is a very big problem nowadays. Well, it's lonely. Go out and, again, we're saying the houses of worship. There's
Correct.
people there. Get out there. get
Correct.
involved, like you're saying.
Yes.
You know, everybody. There's so many people. We're looking for volunteers, and I'm
Mhm.
sure everybody is.
Yep.
All these agencies. If you volunteer,
Yep.
you get to meet people. So.
So recently, speaking of loneliness, when my big thing is always I've been like, let's have our kids do things for people here in town. So what I've done the last 2 years is for Valentine's Day. I've worked with an elementary school in Glenmont Elementary School, and they have made over about 500 Valentine's Day cards. I delivered those Valentine's Day cards to the nursing homes and
Really?
in town, from Beverwick to the Van Allen Farms to Peregrine Place and a couple of other, smaller facilities. And the smiles that I see at those seniors when they get the cards, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And this year was actually neat. One facility, the Peregrine, made Valentine's Day cards for the kids. So I was able to do that. They actually exchanged, Valentine's
Yeah.
Day cards. So
Excellent.
I want to build more of that. So see, that one card might bring the one smile that resident neighbor
I know.
gets all month long, maybe.
No, that's excellent. Well, you're really doing good work. We're out of time, but of course that we enjoy you having here and telling us, like I said at the beginning, about civics, but also, again, getting involved. I think that's what we were both talking about, whether it's your city or it's your neighbors or it's your houses of worship, wherever it is. I could tell you everybody needs help. Every place, we don't need any more volunteers. Who ever heard such a
Never.
thing? Yeah, everybody, these places are all needed, and
Yes.
it's not that you're giving. Really, the old thing, even with charity, it's a Jewish phrase: the more you give, the more you're getting back.
That's true.
You say, well, I'm giving my time, or I'm giving my money, I'm helping, I'm. Yeah, but you're getting more
Yes.
in turn that you're really giving, and people don't understand
100%.
that.
100%.
So that's an important
I
idea.
tell it to my kids all the time. Better to give than to receive.
All right, excellent. Then we're out of time, but it was very enlightening, and I'm glad we can meet together. Give
Thank
you
you.
your Hebrew name, David, or whatever. In any case, it is a biblical name. And that you're doing great work in the town board, and
Thank
continue
you.
with good health and doing the good work you did for the public.
You as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.